Okay, what's up, everyone? We're back. It's News Tuesday, and I am Ryan Rowley from Simple Vet Benefits, or also known as Simple Benefits. And today is another News Tuesday, and we're going over the latest news affecting veterans this week, or from this month of June 2025. And first off, we got the on June 6th, thousands of veterans. So basically, what, a few days ago, thousands of veterans across the nation gathered, most notably on the National Mall, to protest planned VA staffing cuts. Now, this was called or dubbed the Unite for Veterans. These protests aim to highlight deep concerns over a 15% reduction in VA employees, about 80,000 jobs, and fears over reduced access to care and potential privatization of services. Veterans from varying backgrounds, including federal workers within the VA itself, spoke out, joined by lawmakers and labor groups calling for more transparency around VA reconstructing. So, yeah, that was a big event. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it out there, but yeah, let me know in the comments if you were able to make it out there, and let me know how was the turnout. I'm sure we'd all love to hear. Number two, um, a transgender Army veteran, filed a lawsuit against the VA after her hormone therapy was abruptly halted following a policy change canceling gender affirming care. Now, the legal claim argues this violates constitutional and anti discrimination laws, asserting that veterans receiving such care under the service deserve protection, especially after being promised continuity when transitioning from active duty. Now, of course, with all of these articles, I'm going to be posting in the comments, and I'll pin it to the top so it won't be hard to find. Next is Texas lawmakers passed a groundbreaking bill mandating state level tracking of veteran self harm, making Texas the first to do so. Of course, Texas. Why not? I'm a big fan of Texas. I don't live there, but I'm more than aware of all of the benefits they have for veterans, and they are, I would say, leading, in my opinion, when it comes to that. So this isn't nothing new, or this doesn't surprise me. So this initiative responds to skepticism about VA statistics and aims to improve transparency. It includes annual reporting and additional funding for alternative clinical trials and community based peer programs, a reflection of persistent health challenges across the veteran population. Shout out to Texas for that. Next up, the Trump administration directed up to 2,000 National Guard troops to LA to assist with civilian protest control, provoking alarm among veterans and military leaders. Critics argue this move politicizes the military and erodes the traditional apolitical stance of U.S. forces, raising fears about potential misuse of military power in domestic affairs. Now, these are pretty big accusations. Definitely make sure you keep up with that and let me know if you have any insight in the comments. So next up, the VA exceeded a total budget of $400 billion for the first time in its history during fiscal year 2025. Now the budget includes 31.7 billion of an increase over the previously enacted funding of 369.1 billion. This additional funding was approved to address urgent and growing needs, particularly in disability compensation, toxic exposure care, and benefits under the PACT Act, healthcare access improvements, claims processing backlog relief. Oh, we need that. Um, so much of the increase is going toward fulfilling the promises made under the PACT Act, which expands eligibility and benefits for veterans exposed to toxic environments like burn pits, as you know, Agent Orange, and contaminated water. So, where is this money going? 20 billion plus for VA healthcare services across hospitals, clinics, and virtual care platforms. 5.5 billion of it into the Toxic Exposure Fund, which finances long-term care for affected veterans. What else? Billions for disability claims processing, technology upgrades, and staffing to reduce decision times. Yes, we need more staff to process these claims. So great. I'm sure the technology is probably outdated. I mean, if you worked at the VA or processed claims, or you were a raider, anything, make sure comment. Let us know I work for the government, and I already know that when it comes to technology, they adapt pretty late and pretty slow. Also, expanded programs for mental health, homelessness for prevention, and women veteran services. So, why does all this matter? So, the good news for veterans: if you're dealing with toxic exposure, long wait times, or struggling to get your claim processed, this bump in funding does mean more personnel, faster decisions, and expanded care options, and more care options could be coming. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But it also signals a system strain. So the VA is supporting more veterans with more complex needs than ever before. The fact that the budget keeps ballooning means costs for long-term care, disability payouts, and healthcare are rising faster than anticipated. Taxpayer scrutiny and government oversight. So a budget of this size brings increased political pressure. So Congress and watchdogs will likely demand more accountability, transparency, and efficiency in how the money is spent. As you know, this is a lot of money. So bottom line, the $400 billion budget is both a win and a warning. It shows that veterans' needs are finally getting prioritized at scale, but it also highlights how much strain the VA system is under to deliver on its promises. So let me know if you like this broken down into a script, or I mean, not in a script, but more, in another video. I could possibly post a separate video on this because this is a huge topic. All right, next up. Thanks to updates under the Mission Act, veterans can now seek non VA medical care without extra VA provider sign off, making access quicker and simpler. It's like giving veterans a healthcare freedom card so they're not stuck waiting on VA red tape. Instead of being locked into VA hospitals or clinics, veterans could choose private doctors, specialists, or urgent care more easily, especially if wait times or distances are unreasonable. So, the impact: veterans facing long wait times or living far from VA centers can now use their VA benefits at qualified local providers, streamlining care access. I think this is a great thing. I'm sure there's plenty of veterans out there that don't live that close to the VA. I mean, for me, yeah, you're welcome, Annette. But yeah, I know for me, I live in the DMV area, so I live near a base, but that isn't necessarily counted as VA care. Um, so the closest one for me would be DC, and it can be a hassle getting up there. It can be a pretty big hassle with traffic. So I basically have to schedule out, or be very cognizant of the time of day that I schedule that appointment. And I hope I don't have to have like back to back appointments or anything, because I could easily be leaving and going back into traffic just to get home. Next up, new care choices. Um, Pilot Senate Bill Sierra 219, and this is called the Veterans Healthcare Freedom Act. Now, This has passed out of committee, proposing a 3-year pilot that lets veterans choose community providers without distance restrictions. Um, if enacted, this could vastly increase choice for vets who live in underserved or rural areas, offering more flexibility in provider selection. That was actually a part of the same article. Next up, the House introduced H.R. or Hotel Romeo 38335, Veterans Appeals Efficiency Act, to streamline disability claims and appeals, reduce bureaucracy, and speed up decisions. Now, the impact of this is simplifying appeals can drastically reduce wait times and frustration for vets denied benefits, helping ensure timely resolutions. Now, if any of you have been through an appeal before, it can be a very long process, especially depending on which one it is. It can be like one to, I mean, I've met people that have waited 5 years and some more. Um, but yeah, make sure you go back to my channel and check out the videos on appeals. And then there's also some other veterans out there that have great channels like Dwayne Kimball, and then Civ Div is a pretty good channel too. Um, yeah, shout out to them. Next up, the VA signed a $726,000 contract with OPM to reduce or to manage reductions in force, targeting roughly 83,000 positions, with layoffs beginning in June 2025. So this month, I'll keep you posted on what I find throughout the week if there's anything alarming. So the impact, while intended to realign spending, layoffs, especially in claims and care departments, may disrupt the services and increase delays. Not something we want to hear, but they have other things working in the background to counteract that. Next up, following the Rudisill versus McDonough Supreme Court ruling, eligible veterans can now combine Montgomery GI and post 9/11 benefits for up to 48 months of coverage. Now, this is great. I encourage y'all to read up more on this because if you're eligible, you could be getting a considerable more amount of education benefits. So the impact is that this decision allows veterans who served in multiple qualifying periods to access significantly more education benefits, supporting longer training and career transitions. And if you already haven't used it, and if you're a disabled veteran, at least 10%, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to check out VRNE, which is Voc Rehabilitation and Employment Benefits. Um, so here, let me see. So here are the latest updates for the Army's 250th anniversary parade in DC. So here's an overview. The parade will celebrate the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army, who held on June 14th, overlapping with Flag Day and former President Trump's or current President Trump's birthday. Plans include 6,500 plus troops, about 150 military vehicles, including M1 Abrams tanks, Strikers, Paladins, and 50 aircraft and 50 aircrafts. As you know, I work at the USDA, and they are occupying our channel. I mean, they're occupying our building right now. So everybody's teleworking. So I'm sure everybody's happy right now for the moment. So parade details and festivities. The day begins with a fitness competition and Army Birthday Festival on the National Mall, followed by the parade at 6:30 p.m., featuring period uniform segments from each major war. The event concludes with a Golden Knights parachute demonstration concert and fireworks. Security and logistics. Classified as a national special security event, the parade has prompted massive security measures: 18 to 18.5 miles of fencing, 17 miles of concrete barriers, 175 magnetometers, um, and magnetometers, and widespread drone surveillance. So a lot going on. I rode by there on the way to work today. What's up, Be Humble? Yeah, I rode by there on the way to work today, and it is a lot going on. Like even on GW Parkway, which leads you into DC, they're actually fenced up. Like they put like a guard fence where the pedestrians walk and run and ride bikes and stuff. Like it's kind of it's a lot going on right now. A lot going on. So the streets and waterway closures around the National Mall um, and airport temporary shutdowns are in effect um, to protect city streets from the heavy vehicles. Steel plates have been installed in key areas. I've even seen like those huge concrete barriers up at the moment. And the event is what, Saturday? So they're getting it done. So here's the cost and controversy part of it. The estimated cost is between 25 to 45 million dollars, including 16 million for street repairs. Critics argue the extravagance, especially amid VA cuts, which makes it resemble state uh, parades seen in authoritarian nations. Best estimates suggest nearly 200,000 attendees, further fueling debate on security measures and resources. So here's the summary. The event is June 14th, which is this Saturday. It's about 6,500 troops, 150 vehicles, 50 aircrafts. Um, it's an NSSE classification with extensive fencing and gates. The cost is around 25 to 45 million, inclusive of infrastructure prep. Um, and it's also viewed as politicized. Critics cite excessive spending. So that's really all I have for today, folks, or this evening. But make sure you check out the channel, Simple Benefits. I'm Ryan Rowley, and I teach veterans about their benefits, specifically VA claims. Of course, in the future, I'll be starting more channels regarding veteran finances. Um, Veteran entrepreneurship or veteranpreneurship, as some people say, and also war stories. Shout out to Be Humble. I actually got interviewed by him. We were talking about some crazy stories. He's an awesome channel. I encourage you to check it out. Um, he's in the comments. Also, I'll post a link to his channel in the comments, but very entertaining stuff. I highly encourage y'all to check him out. Shout out to Be Humble. And I actually met him through a veteran event through Wounded Warrior Project. If you don't already know, they have events after you register to be their alumni, and they have events all around. So anywhere in the country, you can probably find something near you going down that's probably pretty appealing. Um, but yeah, I also have a course or a program that teaches veterans about the VA claims process and also how to take advantage of it and also how to articulate what conditions you have and what the VA is looking for and so on. So check that out at simplevetbenefits.com. I also just started one-on-one strategy calls. So make sure you book one of those to get more clarity on your situation. Of course, I'm not a VA attorney. I'm also not a VSO. I'm a veteran just like you that's been through this process and also have worked with other veterans in this process. And I found that this is my calling. So, yeah, shout out to y'all. Keep doing what y'all doing. Keep researching. Keep striving for to better levels, in whether in your career, in your life, whatever. And also seek those resources that you need. They're not going to find you. You got to go find them. Peace, y'all.